I'm here with Sgt Evie Arocho. What can I say about the cooperation between Motor Gospel Ministries and the Los Angeles Police Department? The 3 years since leaving the space program have been absolutely surreal, and it's been largely attributable to everybody at Mission Community Station, from Todd Chamberlain on down, Evie, and everybody else there. They've exhibited a tremendous balance amongst warmth, professionalism, and importantly, common sense. They've made it very, very easy for organizations like Motor Gospel Ministries to serve their community. You've kept the bureaucracy, you've earned a reputation for keeping the bureaucracy and the politics to a minimum. It's just, what can we all do together to see these young people make it to adulthood without killing themselves or anybody else? We work around our common ground. I can't say enough good about the cooperative work between Motor Gospel Ministries and the Los Angeles Police Department. Evie was kind of on point in the Peace March, riding in one of the SUVs, trying to keep us moving so we wouldn't get ambushed by the gang members if we came to a stop during the Peace March. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, I mean, we always want to provide safety for all of the community members, and for such a peace march, we're always cooperative in maintaining the flow of traffic and getting everyone from point A to point B. One of the things that we really enjoy about having the peace marches is how much a decrease in crime there is post one of these marches, and so we would like to continue to have them and work in partnership with Motor Gospel Ministries, as well as any of the groups in our communities that provide services or intervention, prevention, to keep our youth safe in those communities that are gang infested. One of the things that we observed during the march was the flow of people that came out of their homes, out of the apartment complexes. We saw that people really wanted to have this peace march, and maybe they didn't know about it, but when they saw us come together, hear the music, hear the people chanting that they wanted to stop the violence and keep the peace, we saw just an overflow of people coming into the streets, holding hands, bringing out signs, and some even waving from window tops. So it was just a good feeling of knowing that people who didn't know each other, the neighbors who didn't ever speak to each other, that they have come together for a common ground, which was to create peace and in their communities, and let the gangs know that they are not welcome there, that they need to find a common ground where we can all live together and not have violence or shootings in our communities, to keep our communities safe. We would also like to encourage as many people to continue to carry on these marches in our communities, to spread the word of stopping the violence and creating peace, because it is where we live, and where we live is our sanctuary. And so if our sanctuary is unsettled with violence, then there is no peace.
And if I can get a little bit controversial right now, I want anybody seeing this video to take a good look at Sgt Arocho. Look at this person. This is flesh and blood. This is not some badge on television going around trying to shoot people because of the color of their skin or something. Evie is not a Caucasian man. She's a Puerto Rican, right? PR? She's a Latina, a woman. She carries a gun, yes, because there are people gunning for her, not because she wants to hurt people. This is flesh and blood. This is what you're hating on. If I can get a little controversial, there are some people spreading rhetoric against the police, and it's not honest. As a rocket scientist, in my 28 years in the space program, I learned to make decisions off of data, not off of rhetoric and off of emotions. I honed my ability to make decisions off of data. And the data show that for every one questionable shoot by cops, there are greater than 1,000 killings by gangs, drugs, and drunk drivers. If you really, really care about unjust deaths in the community, you need to care about the 999 out of 1,000 killings by gangs, drugs, and drunk drivers, and stop focusing on the 1 out of 1,000 that might be questionable. And I might add, even in questionable killings, people, flesh and blood people like Sgt Arocho, are having to make life and death decisions in the blink of an eye. You blink your eyes, that's 250 milliseconds. That's a quarter of a second. You put yourself, those of you watching, you put yourself in Sgt Arocho's shoes with somebody that's a foot taller than you and outweighs you by 50 pounds with a knife like this coming at you. You have the blink of an eye to decide what you can fumble for and pull it out and do something to save your life so you can go home to your family. I defy anybody that has never stood in the shoes of the cops and been in a life-threatening situation, having to make a life and death decision in the blink of an eye. I defy anybody to honestly say what he or she would not do if he or she were in that situation until you have been in that situation. Come take a course, come to the Community Police Academy. They'll put you through that simulator, and they'll give you a toy gun, and you'll face the kinds of situations that these public servants, these sacrificial public servants face, and you'll see what you would do in the blink of an eye when you're being threatened.
These marches do create a place for all community members to come together, whether they know each other or not, no matter what different race or color or creed or religion or sex, that you can come out into the streets and let your community know that you would like peace in your communities.